Meow everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I just want to do a quick video and talk about something that I really care about a lot, which is SoFi. Quite often when you care about something, you want to spend a whole lot of time thinking about it. I'm not going to do that. I've only got maybe about 10-15 minutes tonight. I just want to go through my thoughts about SoFi real quick and then also show you a little bit of technical things like that. I'm going to admit to be the first person to admit that I'm not going to be able to eloquently say about the fundamentals about SoFi. The gist of it is this: it is a bank. It is very tiny. It's about 10 billion market cap. You're talking about, in comparison to a big company like JP Morgan, who has about 50 times the size of the market cap. And as far as we know, SoFi, there's a lot of advantages in that is an online bank. It doesn't necessarily need a lot of the overheads, a lot of the spending that the traditional big banks do. And as the generation grows, I think this is going to be the way that it's leaning more towards. And on top of that, it's got good branding, it's got good word of mouth, and it's also got a very, very easily used software and a very, very easy and user-friendly app that people are really starting to use it. So there's a few reasons to why it is growing, and all the numbers in terms of users are growing, is turning into profitability. Part of it is also they've also been downsizing as well. They're, as far as I'm concerned, they're doing what they have to get to where they need to go. Right. Again, I'm not going to be too eloquent to kind of tell you everything. All I have to say is that there are a lot of people that are always going to be downers on something like SoFi, and they might be right. They might have good points, but all I'm going to say is that a lot of times they have these narratives that don't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. It's the same narratives that have been really said about Tesla. I mean, I'm not even going to be elaborate on that point any further. They're going to short. The company's growing. They're turning profitability. If they want to keep shorting, I don't have anything else to say, right? All I gotta say is right now is to kind of show you the chart. I'm going to do a few things here real quick. Again, I don't want to belabor the point here. I just want to show you, first off, a 3-month chart, right? Right off the bat, this is the whole history of SoFi. Each candle represents 3 months of price action. You can see that right off the bat, if you end up drawing a rectangle, you can draw a zone right there. This is where it started. It started as IPOE. It was started as a SPAC. And it's been finding resistance ever since it tanked underneath of this at around the $10, $11 range, right? So let's say be fair, it's around like $10, right? It went down, retested a little bit, wasn't able to find breakout, got back tested and got rejected, right? Went down, spent about a whole year underneath of it. But then guess what? It spent the whole year 2023 trying to break out of this range. That's a lot of touches on over here. The more it touches, the weaker this resistance is going to be. It's most likely it's going to break through, right? There are some findings here that makes me think that it's probably going to break through more than not, including that it might start to have, a little bit of this kind of tweezer look to it. But the most important thing is that it has touches number 1, 2, 3, and 4. There have been a lot of efforts trying to, a lot of energy is being expended trying to prevent the price from going up, but there's also a lot of energy trying to push it back up, right? If anything, I'm also starting to see a little bit of kind of like a descending triangle over here, which is generally a bullish trend. There's increasing in demand, and it's eating up supply, right? No fancy indicators, just kind of looking at the 3-month candle, you already see what I'm talking about. Now, add a little bit more fancy stuff on there. Let's look at volume, right? This also tells you a lot. Sell volume declining, buy volume going up. Yeah, sell volume, not that impressive. Buy volume, a little bit more. Sell volume, not impressive. This is probably more consolidation here, trying to have a big breakout. But the volume here at the beginning tells you a little bit about, hey, increased selling, decreased selling, exhaustion, increased buying, consolidation. It tells you a lot. If you look at the 1 month, it might tell you a little bit more here too, right? The 1 month picture basically show you very similar thing: increased selling exhaustion, right? It's trying to get rid of all these sellers right here. And guess what? All the sellers that wanted to sell, they probably already sold over here. Buyers came in, increased volume, going up, right? Sellers, not that impressive anymore. You have buyers coming in. Now this candle right here is a trick. The reason why I say this candle right here is a trick is because right here there were earnings and there was a lot of volatility. And if you actually look at the daily, there was initially a lot of buying volume and it just ended up selling, and just overall the net sell ended up being just a little bit more than buy, so it turned out to be a red candle. Fair, right? There's a lot of volatility here on the monthly. And if you just look at the candle itself, you're like, oh, they just make like a higher high, and then now it's making like a lower high. Should I be worried? Well, it didn't make a higher low, right, compared to down here. Basically, it's just kind of consolidating here into a wedge, if you will, right? This may not help you. This might help. This might actually confuse you if you just look at the candles, higher high, lower high. This might actually confuse you, right? What may be more helpful is actually look at the 20-month moving average. For whatever reason, I don't know whether or not it's algorithmic, but if you look at the 20-month moving average, which is going to come along with the Bollinger Bands, 20-month moving average actually tells you a little bit more about the trend, because it doesn't just summarize what happened over the last few months. It also summarizes what happened before that. And generally, the longer-term trend takes into account of 20 months rather than just the last few months. And overall, the 20 months, guess what? It's been kind of in an upper channel, isn't it? I mean, I can roughly kind of draw it, but you see what I'm seeing, right? It's roughly a channel, and because of that, the 20-month moving average has been slowly trending up, and right now it's upsloping. This is a good sign in terms of the longer-term trend. If I see a monthly 20-month moving average start to upslope, I really start to think that most likely, even despite this red candle with high volume here, is still trending up. Most likely, this is going to be an uptrend moving forward. It looks positive, and it goes along with the 3-month data, candle data that I just shared with you earlier, right? So that's one thing. The other thing I want to share is, if you look at the Ichimoku cloud, the cloud's not going to appear yet because there's just not enough price history on the monthly to be able to show you that. But this is the Tenkan line, this is the Kijun line. There's such a thing as when the Tenkan cross above the Tenjin, the Kijun, it's basically the bullish Tenkan Kijun cross, and that usually is indicative of something more bullish coming, right? I want to show you kind of in comparison of what I'm kind of talking about here. If you look at Ethereum, it basically have a very, very similar look to it. When you have the Tenkan crossing above the Kijun, in this particular case, they actually join together and they go up together, right? When the cross happens, generally there's a pretty strong parabolic uptrend that goes along with it. Now, same here, right? We're actually about to meet that in Ethereum. I'm actually very, very bullish on Ethereum. But if you kind of take this Ichimoku cloud analysis that gives you the Tenkan and Kijun line out, if you look at Bollinger Band, same thing, right? Right around where it started crossing is also right around when the 20-month moving average was starting to curl up. I think we might be seeing a very, very similar process in a lot of the fintech stocks, which includes SoFi. And because of that, I am getting pretty long-term bullish. I've been buying all the way really from over here, buying all the way through. I've been trying to buy a lot more heavier over here. And I'm still buying, but not as heavy as I used to, right? Regardless, this trend right here is promising. And the fact that it got over the 20-month moving average, has been back testing it and it bounced, is still on the upper part of the Bollinger Band. As it curls up, it tells me that most likely the price is going to keep pushing it up. And as this continues to curl up, it can expand, it can allow the price to actually push up. And as the price push up, it can expand the Bollinger Band further. And there could be a pretty bullish thing coming, right? I'm not going to spend too much more time on the monthly. I'm going to show you a weekly real quick, and I'm going to call it a night. This is the weekly right here. What you're going to see right off the bat is there are actually a couple of these kind of like an even atom formation right here, and it's forming a very similar fractal here, an even atom formation right here. It looks like the price is most likely going to, eventually going to break through, because it did have multiple touches over here, just like when I show you on the 3-month chart, right? Multiple touches, resistance level here is going to get weaker the more it touches it, right? And it looks like it's probably going to go up and push it up again. Matter of fact, this looks like an ascending triangle to me, and that's generally a pretty bullish formation. The other thing I want to show you a couple of things. First of all, the Ichimoku cloud right now is gotten, back inside the cloud, and it's actually pushed above the cloud, right? And basically what I'm seeing here is the cloud is a way to see, it basically serves just like any horizontal line or diagonal line. You can use this whole Ichimoku cloud as resistance and as support. What it's showing you here is that previously it's been shown to be resistance, right? Resistance, breaking through, resistance, breaking through. Now is trying to back test it as support, right? Back test it, okay? Test passed, right? Keep on going down. I'm going to do another back test here. Passed, bounced, came back down. Do a back test over here. Trying to struggle for a few weeks here. Eventually, it found support here and it bounced, right? So this is actually a very bullish, very constructive price action. You're talking about resistance, flip, support with backtest. And so far is passing. Despite the big red volume candle right here, which again is not really like a fair thing to say, because matter of fact, there's a lot of buying here too. But regardless, the price has been trying to push through this resistance here multiple times, and you also have the resistance turn support here. I think price is probably going to push up above based on what I'm seeing. And once it happens, I think it's going to get pretty impulsive, right? Again, this is just what I think. There's no guarantee, right? But that's what I'm thinking right now. The other thing I want to show you, and I've also posted this on Twitter as well. Now, instead of distracting, I'm going to take off the volume right here. I'm going to show you the bull market support band. The bull market support band has been showing a pattern that I've been seeing in multiple things. That eventually turned out to be pretty bullish. So first of all, basically downtrended, serve at resistance, flatten, right? Kind of hover around it, eventually start to upslope, and it failed to serve as support because it has a little bit of a weakness right there when it started to flatten right here. Broke back down, didn't really slope down that much, found some weakness here as resistance, broke back up, and it's just kind of been hovering around, right? Now, right now, eventually, you have this kind of oscillating thing around the bull market support band, and eventually it had a pretty impulsive bound, just early this week, right? I've seen this in a lot of different things. The one thing that I definitely have seen it in is Bitcoin. Most recent price action of Bitcoin. You have a very, very similar thing where the bull market support band is just kind of oscillating around it, and eventually, as it bounces up from a flat bull market support band in a very, very impulsive move up, it becomes a very, very bullish move. Actually, this turns out to be, a very, very big breakout right there. And I think I'm seeing a very similar thing here with SoFi, where it could potentially be breaking out for this, oscillating zone in a flat bull market support band. It could potentially be a very, very impulsive move up from this flat bull market support band, and the price could potentially go up to 14, maybe over the next couple of months, over the next few months. I don't know. This is just a guess, right? There is no guarantee, obviously, because the band is flat. This is just a educated guess, but there are multiple things that tell me that this range is about to be broken potentially, and there are also some other fractals to show you. I think another thing I want to show you was another stock that was in called Cloudflare. Very, very similar, right? Oscillating around a flattened bull market support band right here. Eventually have this candle that it bump up from a flat bull market support band, and it started to have some pretty impulsive price action. It's dragging the bull market support band up with it. I have a feeling, sometimes technical analysis is a feeling based on all the things that you see on the 3-month chart, on the monthly chart, and on the weekly chart, on Ichimoku cloud, on the Bollinger Band, 20-month moving average, and on the bull market support band, based on fractals. A lot of these things are telling me that things are going to be, pretty positive. I'll just leave it as that, pretty positive very soon. The other thing is that there's also a confluence of other fintech stocks doing well, right? I mean, Square is doing pretty well. Robinhood is also doing pretty well. And on top of that, even potentially, riskier stocks such as NU and Affirm, all these stocks are also doing very well. So there's no real reason for me to think that, based on all the technicals that I'm showing, based on my rhythmatory understanding of SoFi's fundamentals. There's no reason for me to think that SoFi won't be like all the other ones. I am still buying this every week. It's been 15 minutes. I have spoken. I'm sorry if I'm kind of stuttering and kind of speeding through. Happy to get my thoughts across. I definitely want to make a video and keep consistent and keep sharing you with my thoughts, because if I don't, I'm just going to end up panning inside. I'm not trying to make it perfect. Just want to let you know what I'm thinking. That's all. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.